This conference will now be recorded.
I got the next one.
Ready? All right, good morning. We're going to call to order the Town of Ocean Ridge Special Magistrate hearing. Today is Tuesday, November 2nd. It is 10 a.m. by the town's clock. First order of business, we have a few folks in the room. Anybody who is going to be speaking on any items on today's agenda, if you could stand and raise your right hands for me, I'll swear you in. Are you gentlemen here on behalf of one of the cases?
Yeah.
Can you stand up for me? Raise your right hands. Thank you. Do you all swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is adoption of the October 5th, 2021 minutes. I reviewed those. There are no revisions to those, so I'll hereby adopt those as written. And it looks like we have one case, a fine assessment hearing. Some faces in the room are familiar, but essentially the way this is going to work is I'll call the case to order. The town will have its opportunity to present its case, put on any evidence, testimony that it has. You will then, as a respondent, have a chance to come to the podium, give me your name, give me your appearances, and then explain anything that you have. You may present any testimony, any evidence you have. You've all been sworn in. This is a quasi-judicial hearing. The formal rules of evidence do not apply. However, remember that you are giving all testimony under oath this morning. So if you have any questions along the way, let me know. I'll turn it over to the town for the first case.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Christy Gott on behalf of the town of Ocean Ridge. Your Honor, this is for the property at 6273 North Ocean Boulevard in the town of Ocean Ridge, Florida. The property owner, according to the property appraiser's office, is Oceandale Holdings, LLC. Your Honor, this is the fine assessment hearing, as you mentioned. This case was originally before you on August 3rd of this year for the hearing on the violation. There is one violation of the property regarding Code Section 67-52, which sets the duration on the commencement of construction. The deadline that they had was July 22nd, and in the order that you entered, find them in violation of Section 6752. Fines began to accrue as of July 22nd at $250 per day. I have with me the town building official, Doreen Guy, who's prepared to testify. In the folder that we have presented to you for today's hearing, there is the proof of service of today's hearing, along with the cost the town has incurred of $159 for today's hearing. The town is seeking to have the $250 a day fine imposed as of July 22nd, which would be 104 days of non-compliance at $26,000, and the $250 per day fine to continue to accrue until they can achieve compliance. I'll let Mr. Guy testify as to proof of service and his inspection of the property.
Thank you. Good morning, Magistrate. The property was posted as required, and I do believe we have documentation in the folder for that. And yesterday at 1 p.m. I did do a site visit, and as of today, they are not completed or not close to completion. Thank you.
Do we have, so it looks like the previous order was two separate issues. One was an expired permit and one was requirement for a permit renewal. Has the town received a permit renewal application, or?
Yes, Magistrate, they are working under a renewed permit which expires, I believe, early next year.
Your Honor, and for the record, they came in on August 9th and applied for that 6 months extension. So they are in compliance with that provision of your order. So we are only seeking $250 a day related to the failure to complete the project under Section 6752.
Okay, anything further from the town?
There's one issue, Carla, did they pay the fines under the original order? The
administrative fee, yes, they did.
They paid the administrative fee. So today's administrative fee is $159. Looking back and preparing for today's hearing, the original order, the violation was 6752. There's reference in that order of section 6477 in the actual order language, which I think was a scrivener's error, and it should reference 6752. So it also asked that scrivener's error perhaps be addressed with an amended order, citing to 6752. 6477 deals with docks.
I see that, yeah, 6752 throughout, and then there's one 6477, okay. Gentlemen, are you here on behalf of the respondents?
Yeah.
Can you come to the podium, please? Can you state your names for the record?
Yep, I am Daniel Stern. I'm the owner's representative for the project.
All right, and town attorney, if we could present the case file to the respondents and ask if they have any objections. You want just the fine assessment?
Let me go ahead and grab those so that I can show them if they have any questions. Okay, so this is for today's hearing.
Yep.
There's the affidavit, it's the notice of violation. This is the original order of finding violation from the August hearing.
Yep.
Then we have the updated notice of hearing that was mailed out, certified and regular, and then was posted at the property, at the building official, that's the posting as well.
Okay.
Then we have, I think, I'm sure you see it, that's the certified mailing received.
Okay.
This was the email that Carla Armstrong sent.
Yep.
She responded to. This is the inspection report.
Okay.
The building official spoke to. This is the one for,
Let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
and then this is the cost sheet that we prepared.
For today. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And you guys just take check calls, right? Okay. You keep this.
Do you have any objection to those documents, sir?
Nope.
Thank you. Thank you. So with that, I'll enter into the record both the original violation hearing case file and the fine assessment hearing case file as the town's composite exhibit 1 without objection. Go ahead, sir. Explain the status.
But Paul came up here as well. Vlad's the PM on site. He's there a lot more often than I am. I kind of do the back end payments and making sure that the trades are on site, getting paid. And
Sure. Before you continue, your name for the record, sir?
Fuad Abbasi,
Lloyd is your first name?
FUAD,
Oh, thank you.
ABBASI.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Status of the project, we have the retention pond electrified, plumbed, waiting for delivery of steel, which apparently is in shortage. The pieces that we need, the length that we required, has us waiting on the steel company, and there's no company that can provide the length that we require. So that has a minor delay associated to the pandemic, backlog of equipment and shortage of supplies. Inside the house, we have finished the polishing of the cement floors, painted. The trim will be delivered this week. Trim will be going up in the next week. The polishers continue to finish the inside as the trim, which is the doors, baseboard, and whatever casings that we have going around the windows will be installed. After that, the painters come back. So we're kind of moving as quick as we can, given shortages and backlogs of orders and backlogs of actually performance of the contract. So that's the status moving forward.
as well, I've been speaking with the GC, had a meeting with him yesterday just to kind of give us a better timeline. He will now be taking over the shooting of the pools because we've had major issues finding someone to do that. So he will take over that portion of the project, starting with the rear pool and then the retention pond. Afterwards, the millwork guy will enter the site. Kitchen will be installed. Other vanities will be installed. Electricians are coming back now for temp power. As soon as that AC is turned on, then we can start installing the bamboo floor upstairs. So the progress is there. We're moving. We're trying to make it move as fast as possible, especially given this $250 a day fine, which the owner is quite aware of, and he also wants to move in as well. So I think, with Fuad on site, everyone getting paid on time, even regardless of the shortages that there are, we are moving as quickly as possible. We're pushing and pushing and pushing
As hard
harder.
as you can, yeah.
Yeah, and now that we're getting the GC on board to do, parts of the product that he doesn't necessarily do just because he has, 10 other products going, he does understand this fine that we're getting
Okay.
every day. And he wants to get it done as well.
So you understand the urgency, you understand that the town is seeking today a fine for 104 days of non-compliance at that 250.
So you're
That's a
seeking that
significant
fine today?
Yes, what the town is asking me to issue today is an order assessing fine for those days that you have not been in compliance based on the previous order, which started on July 22nd
Right.
through today, and continuing until you achieve compliance with the town's code. So essentially what will happen with that order is the order is as of this moment today, but as I said, it continues to accrue that daily fine of $250 until the property is completely brought into compliance and you have an affidavit of compliance from the building
And the
official.
current fine today, if you don't mind repeating it again?
It's 104 days. I believe the town attorney said it's $26,000 and continuing is what the town has asked for.
Okay.
And as you say, it sounds like you're getting closer.
We're getting closer, yeah. We're getting there as fast as we can, believe me, especially with this fine. We want it finished. Do we pay the fine once we're at that completion COA, or do I start paying fines?
No, you can pay the administrative costs,
And
which I
that-
think you've done
but
for the
then- but
previous
yeah,
hearing, but yes,
This keeps accruing.
it keeps
Okay.
accruing until you achieve compliance.
Absolutely.
Your Honor, if I may ask, when do you guys anticipate this being completed? Right now, you've got an extension through February of next year.
That's kind of when I want this completed. I have to get back home to Toronto. I have a house that I'm building there too. So, and I know Fuad, is there every day now. We're just trying to push. We are, if we can't do certain things that are aesthetically pleasing to Andrew on the interior, we've talked with Durrani, whatever we can get for CO, we'll do that. So even if it's not perfectly beautiful on the inside, as long as it complies, we'll make sure that the exterior of the house is looking beautiful and landscaped, at least for the neighbors that have been having to look at this thing for the past 6 years.
Right.
We'll do all of that. So February, we're hoping for, that's kind of the date.
So you believe you're on target to meet that deadline?
If all goes well,
Potentially.
if all goes well, like we've had delays with, the rebar for the pool, we've had delays for the concrete. So if we can keep pushing, and I hope we can, and there's no more delays, and we still don't hear these, suppliers saying, oh, well, increases in freight costs and all these things, we're pushing, and believe me, this 250 a day, like you said, it's already added up, right? So
Right.
we do really hope to push and finish by that time. If we're a month later, that's a possibility, but me and Rick are working on a pretty tight schedule. He's the GC here, and we'll provide that for you guys. And we'll really try and stick to that. And I know we've said that a bunch of times, and it keeps going and going and going, and that's why we're getting fined now. And it's not an ideal situation for anyone, so.
And so just so you know, what you may be running into is come February, if they're not completed, the town may not grant another extension, which means your project's dead in the water and you will have to reapply for site plan approval and for building permit. You'll have to go back through the entire process.
Which ideally we.
And if you continue to work after that extension, then you will be facing another fine that will be seeking from the magistrate, $250 a day. And in addition, any contractor that works on that property without a building permit extension will be putting their license in jeopardy.
Right.
So February,
What's the date exactly on February? That way we make sure we're at least ahead of
it
that.
was approved August 9th. So without.
I can follow up with it.
Okay, if you can follow up,
Exact date,
and that way we can really just,
know your exact deadline.
yeah, that would be great.
Because
And
everything will come.
I'm going to ask this question now because it is a possibility. If you were to grant us maybe a 2-month extension or a 1-month extension, and I give you ample time and I can show you where the house is at and Durrani comes by, is that something you think about?
That's not my decision.
Okay,
I'm just trying to let you know
whose
what
decision?
could potentially.
Right,
happen.
and whose decision is that?
I believe at that point we would take it to the town commission.
Okay, that's okay, all right. No, good to know. I just wanted, just in case.
Yeah, yeah, so we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we are, okay.
Do you gentlemen have anything further that you'd like me to hear or consider?
No.
I think what the town attorney is telling you is that February date is very important.
No, absolutely.
It
100%.
sounds like, and in many jurisdictions, these projects tend to go on for longer than they need to.
No, for
So I would take what she said with utmost weight, because you don't want to be back here for a separate issue paying additional fines for additional work
Nope,
done without a
absolutely
permit
not.
or done in violation of some other provision of the town's code. And does the town want the administrative cost for this morning's hearing payable within 30 days? Is that acceptable?
Yeah, sure.
Anything further, gentlemen?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, in case 2021-009, I am going to issue an amended order correcting a scrivener's error. The previous order finding violation to reflect in all instances code section 67-52 replacing 64-77. So I will issue that order this morning as soon as I get back to the office. And with regard to the fine assessment, I find that based on the testimony of the building official this morning, as well as the documentation in the case file, that there was sufficient notice and good service for this morning's hearing. So I find the town does have good service. I also find that based on the testimony of the building official, the respondents remain in violation of code section 67-52 and have been out of compliance since July 22nd. I will thereby issue an order assessing a fine for non-compliance of 104 days. That would be a fine of $26,000 and continuing until compliance is achieved. I will also grant the town's administrative costs in the amount of $159 for this morning's hearing payable within 30 days. And you will get an order in the mail that reflects all of that.
Okay.
But as she said, you need to get this done
No, absolutely.
based on the time that you've been granted now. So you'll get two orders. You'll get an amended order for the previous violation, order correcting that scrivener's error, and you'll get a fine assessment order
Okay.
for this morning's hearing. Anything further from the town?
No, I think, Your Honor, even though I think we do have one person from the public who would like to make public comment, if you'll allow public comment.
Okay, gentlemen, you can proceed.
Okay, thanks.
If you could state your name and address for the record, sir.
Sure. Good morning. My name is John Shibels, Shibles. I live at 6201 North Ocean Boulevard in Ocean Ridge. I'm immediately adjacent to the subject property. Thank you for coming. I've never met either one of you. I've met the owner, but I haven't seen the owner in a year and a half. But I have considerable concern about the project. Maybe I'll give my background a little bit. I have 45 years of experience in the building and development trade in the Northeast, Ohio, Louisiana. I built my house here in town. Past awards, I received New Jersey Builders Award for Best Custom Home in the state of New Jersey. And also another year, I received the Best Commercial Project in the state of New Jersey. I've done a lot of work for corporate America, CVS, Walgreens, banks, McDonald's, Home Depot, 17 transactions with them. I have years of experience in the building trade. Never have I seen a project take as long as 5 years. It's been over 20 days that site's been under construction, 2,000 days that site has been under construction. The problem has to do with the management and what's going on there. The project has had a lot of issues all along. It's had a stop and go. Yesterday, there was one truck there. Today, there's one truck there. The problem is they don't do multiple subs at one time. They do one at a time. They talk about steel work. It's been a year. They could have had that steel here. They didn't do it. Problem is the lack of continuity in the development itself. There's no rhyme or reason for that other than somebody not making good management decisions on the building.
Understood.
Oh,
And
let me go further,
ahead.
if I may, Your Honor, okay? If you look at the site, back in 2019, they came here before Your Honor regarding some deficiencies in the site, having to do with an electrical line that was broken. First thing you do in a site plan is stake out where your utilities are so no sub goes and hit. The site was never staked out. The utility line comes underneath my property to give them electrical access. Okay, they ruptured it with a backhoe or some other piece of equipment. They came here, subject to fine, they had to be done in 7 days. That line goes underneath my retaining wall. The backfill underneath the footings of my retaining wall is still open to today. I'd like to share with you the pictures because what they've done is excavated their site 8 feet below where it was existing.
so I'll take these, but this is not,
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
Well, I'm getting to the point where what they've done is a problem. This was subject to a fine that maybe should continue today.
And that's another issue. So what I would do is my jurisdiction here this morning is limited. As you just heard, I've granted the town's order assessing the significant fine against the property to ensure and try to incentivize compliance as quickly as possible. I understand your frustration. If there are issues from a previous case that have not yet been addressed, that will need to be communicated with the town. It's not within my jurisdiction here this
I
morning.
have communicated with the town.
Okay.
Okay. And also just to give Your Honor just some feeling as to what the issue is. They are, bear with me 1 second, okay? I'm just looking for it here. My albums here just got all screwed up, excuse me. There it is. Now this is just the other day. And I appreciate you bearing with me for a second, okay? I'm sorry. I had it before, but I didn't have it now. Here we go. Hang on. Okay, here we are. Just so you have an idea. Oh, gosh. I apologize. But basically what I'm getting at is to describe to you that 5 years, they don't even have temporary electric on the site. 2 years ago, they broke that line. There is a generator that runs 8 hours a day, every day to do their work. Here it is here. This is what I have to listen to.
I understand your
Okay.
frustration, sir. I think the best course of action, because again, I've already issued my order, I've already made my ruling on this case that's before me today, but I would have you get with the building official and.
I have. And I
Okay,
went to council last night and I recommended that that a committee be formed and that permit pulled and redone because there's variances on that site that had never come to the public.
understood.
Thank you.
I appreciate you sharing your concerns, sir. Thank you. Anything further from the town?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, with that, we will adjourn at 10:24.